But first, a new bombshell poll published today shows that nearly half of the King's realms would vote to become republics if they had the chance. Caribbean countries cite colonial ties as the reason for wanting to part with the monarchy. And pretty disturbingly for King Charles, 10 of the 14 countries polled say they back the Sussexes, saying Meghan's treatment exposes racist views. It's ignited debate about whether King Charles should apologise for Britain's past sins, maybe even pay reparations. Would that make any difference? Or would it just fuel the fire of republicanism? Well, here with me now to debate this, the former royal butler to Princess Diana, Paul Burrell, the activist and organiser of Black Lives Matter protests, Iman Aiden, and the historian and royal author, Dr. Tessa Dunlop. Well, this will be a quiet debate, won't it? Well, you brought your earplugs, Paul.
I won't get a look in.
Paul, let me start with you. I've got a problem with this constant looking back in history, feeling guilty for stuff that none of us in this era actually did, and then having to say sorry for everything that we didn't do, and even now, apparently having to pay people today for stuff that happened to their ancestors many generations before. I don't really get what that achieves.
We should learn from lessons of the past. We can't change anything, and we should move forward. But the Queen's greatest achievement, his mother's greatest achievement, was the Commonwealth of Countries. She was very proud of that. I think if she could beam her down now, she would say, my Commonwealth. That should survive intact into the King's reign. So he should do whatever he can. Now, bear in mind, I've known this man for a very long time.
Yeah.
He has a voice, and he will say what he feels.
Here's the real problem he's got. There's another voice yapping away about racism. Two voices. His son, Harry, and Harry's wife, Meghan, who for 3 years have branded the royal family a bunch of callous racists. That is now turning up in these polls because, understandably, frankly, black people in the Commonwealth around the world are going, whoa, really? They're racist, these people, and yet they haven't produced a shred of evidence for any of it.
You and I know the royal family are not racist, and you and I know that they pressed the racist button on the Oprah Winfrey show, and they never apologised to the Queen.
Never.
She went to her grave thinking there was a racist in the royal family.
And after she died, they said...
What happened?
We
didn't say that, the press said that.
We didn't mean to say it was racism.
Why didn't you correct it, Harry? Why didn't you tell your...
Well, we know why. Because they weaponise racism and mental health to make themselves extremely rich.
I totally...
All right, Iman, this is my problem. This has always been my problem with this racism narrative that these two have spun without any evidence, is that people around the world, particularly people of colour, they believe it. And why wouldn't they believe it? They're hearing the first person who wasn't a white royal bride say they're racist, these people. So then the damage is palpable.
Stop it.
It's tangible, and it will lead, I think, if we're not careful, to a load of these countries becoming republics and the beginning of the end of the monarchy.
Thank you for your soliloquy.
No, thank you.
All right, no problem. So first and foremost, my feelings on the royal family and racism are not predicated on Harry and Meghan's willingness to identify it. That's the difference between me and you. We are talking about a country that was built off of racism, and we are referring to the oldest institution in this country that started it all. So that's the first thing. In terms of why black people and many others feel the way that we do, well, the monarchy is a symbol of white supremacy. OK? White supremacy. That is the reason.
Why does it make any difference if King Charles says sorry? Or why does it make if he pays money? What difference does that make?
OK. So reparations...
How does that combat racism?
No, it actually does. So let me
The guy hasn't got a racist bone in his body. He's done more for racism than any public figure in the country. Why should he be paying for the sins of people hundreds of years ago?
OK, so can I finish?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, the monarchy is a symbol of white supremacy, which is what black people have had to contend with for the last 400 years, notwithstanding the fact that Elizabeth, or every king and queen, from Elizabeth I...
You think the last late queen was a model of white supremacy?
Let me finish my point. You just asked me several questions. Let me finish my point.
Well, answer the question,
Right,
then.
I'm getting there, so just finish.
Well, hurry
Let
up.
me just finish, OK?
Hurry up.
So, every king and queen, from Elizabeth I to William IV, has supported and profited off of slavery. So This is about the fact that this country was built off of racism, and that's
This
the
country
point.
also
Wait, hold on
led...
a second. This country...
Wait for it. Keep talking.
No, because I haven't even finished my point.
You
Piers.
can't just
keep
make
interrupting.
outlandish statements about our royal family and not expect me to jump in.
Piers, you keep interrupting. Can I finish my point?
This country also led the world out of slavery.
OK, so can I finish my point?
A long time ago.
OK. Can I finish my point, please?
Yes.
Perfect.
So please finish it.
I will. No problem. Just be patient. So every single king and queen from Elizabeth I to William IV over a 270-year period supported the enslavement of Africans and profited as a result. So it doesn't... It doesn't take any genius, hold on a second, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that this country was built off of racism and it stems from white supremacy, all of which is directly attributed to the crown, slavery and colonialism. To answer your point, let me finish my point.
Keep talking.
Piers, you keep interrupting.
Answer my question.
Let's have a conversation.
Answer my question.
Let's have a conversation.
We need mediation here, guys.
You spoke about slavery. Let me answer the point.
I asked you a specific question. Why should King Charles be either apologising for what happened centuries ago or paying money for it?
OK, so what you're talking about is slavery. I'm not talking about slavery. Slavery can be traced back to Europe. The Greek slave trade, to be specific, in 400 BC, then the Roman Empire, and then we get to the Muslim conquest of 7th century.
And black people had slaves
So what we're talking about, exactly, so I'm not talking about
slavery comes in many forms. There is a lot of slavery around today.
So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about colonialism, neo-colonialism, racism, racial disparities, and the racist system of oppression and exploitation of black people and white supremacist attributes, which have been rebanded under the guise.
What's that got to do with King Charles?
I'm telling you why he needs to apologise and pay reparations.
Why? What did he do?
Not anything to do with slavery.
What did he do?
I'm telling you, colonialism, neo-colonialism,
he didn't do that.
Racial disparities and a racist system and white supremacist attributes. That is the legacies of the crown, slavery and colonialism that still remains.
I understand.
Let me finally get my point across. Lord, you need to let me finish. You've got your point across,
but here's my point, my counterpoint to you. What's any of that got to do with King Charles,
who
actually has been, I think, one of the great standard bearers in royal history for actually promoting racial equality and tackling racial injustice?
So let me explain.
Yet you want him to be issuing grovelling apologies for people hundreds of years ago.
So
and you want
on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? Me, me, me. I love me. I'm the best person in the world. She is absolutely,
wait for it,
beyond a joke. But I would have thought that any chance a right oik had, American Riviera Orchard, had
I like that.
Thank you. Has just been buried.
Yeah.
It's I think maybe Harry helped to scratch up the earth and bury that bit of matter
Stop it.
underneath another banyan tree. Meow, says I. But she is not capable of running a company of...
Stop it.
That. I think, Dan, if I can just very briefly explain, some years ago, Arnold Scarsi suggested that I do a jewellery line for...
wait for it.
...the shopping channel. And I looked into it and spoke to the head of the, what's it called, the shopping network thing. I can't remember what it's called now. But you have to have, for every product...
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
...that you are making available for sale, you have to have in the warehouse several hundred dozen ready and waiting in case it's a success. And if it's not a success, you stand the hit because you have to then somehow get rid of that stock. Meghan has these big, bright ideas.
Are you serious?
And doesn't understand what is involved. And also, who's going to be really promoting it? Who's going to be really helping her? You know, she'd like us to believe that...
wait for it.
Netflix is going to be behind it, yeah. And pigs fly.
Well, yeah, why on earth do they want to get behind a product? Lady C, just had to show you these great photos of Meghan at the Paley Centre. Literally, look at the PR right to the left, and she's just like
Get off. Get off. According to Taz, put these together, and that's why I just wanted to show you them. Then there's, look,
What the hell?
the other one on the other side saying, Meghan, please, just get off. Give Tyler Perry his moment, for God's sake. And then you see she's sort of dashing away, finally gets the message, but not
Wait for it.
there because she ain't happy. And I just thought, goodness me, those pictures summed up how not to do royalty or a regal approach. And I wanted to contrast it, Lady C, with
Here it comes.
King Charles, who had a delightful moment this week with a group of American tourists who happened to be in London and just had quite an astonishing encounter with the cancer-stricken King of England. It really is heartwarming. Let's have a little watch.
You're trying to go somewhere else today, are you?
Okay.
You're not getting too wet, I hope.
We're not. It's
Are
okay.
you all living right here? Texas? I don't believe it. So, are you having an enjoyable time in London?
Now we are.
Anyway, I do hope you make the most of it.
Thank you.
Have a very happy Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
I mean, Lady C, the contrast couldn't be any clearer. Isn't that how you do royalty?
Well, you know, Dan, the King and William are very gracious.
Are you serious?
Royalty is supposed to be gracious. Harry used to be gracious, but Meghan is graceless, and Harry has learned to be graceless as a result of her influence.
Stop it.
I used to know Bill Paley, after whom the Paley Centre is named. He was Mr. Television in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And his wife, Babe, was one of Capote's swans. They had a house in Jamaica. And, I mean, he must be spinning in his grave to see, because he was a man of great taste and discernment. And so was she, Babe. And he must be spinning in his grave to see that a centre that's named after him has such tacky conduct taking place on his
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
stage. I mean, you practically have to shoot Meghan to get her off the stage. It's beyond.
I know, it's like, just get off. Just get off. Oh, goodness me.
Okay.
Oh, Lady C, what a week of it we've had. What a week of it we've had. Your channel on YouTube is going to be absolutely must watch over the next few days.
Are you serious?
Cannot wait. And you know I love having you on Outspoken.
Thank you, darling. It's always wonderful to be on with you.
Thank you, Lady C. Speak soon.
Couldn't use them for legal reasons. That's in the English version of his book. Then, as everybody now knows, the names suddenly appeared in a Dutch translation. The only crisis, I think, that we're facing at the moment, this end game, as Omid Scobie puts it, is an end game for Omid Scobie. I'm going to cut through all this crap. I'm going to tell you the names of the two senior royals who are named in that Dutch version of the book. Good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. 2.5 years ago, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex sat down with Oprah Winfrey to air a slew of grievances and claims about the royal family that they had deserted. The most incendiary claim was that members of the royal family had raised, quote, concerns in multiple conversations about what skin colour baby Archie's skin would be.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
There's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be.
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh. And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
Okay.
Compartmentalized
They were
conversations.
concerned that if he were too brown, that would be a problem. Are you saying that?
I wasn't able to follow up with why, but that if that's the assumption you're making, I think that feels like a pretty safe one.
You see, that's just an allegation of racism right there. It's not ambiguous. That is Meghan Markle accusing a member of the royal family of being racist, judging somebody according to the colour of their skin and how brown they are. There's no room for thinking it's anything else. Now, the impact of that claim was extraordinary. The claims were reported breathlessly across the world. Tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions, were left with the unavoidable impression that Britain is a racist country with racists at the heart of our royal family.
But just the fact that there is, according to both of them, this ongoing blatant racism, not only in the UK tabloid press, but in the family.
But for some people in this country, a blanket denial of racism, like the one that we heard from Prince William yesterday, just isn't enough.
Buckingham Palace is racist.
Because among the more shocking revelations was that it's sort of overt racism she faced within the royal family.
But here it is, a couple that's truly in love. And the thing that you want to question is their skin tone.
I hope all those people are having severe second thoughts or buyer's remorse about believing what Meghan Markle and Prince Harry said. I don't need to, because that day I said I didn't believe a word of it, and I had to leave my job because I didn't believe them, even though I think they were lying. Well, for 2.5 years, there's been frenzied speculation about who these supposedly racist royals are. Just about every single member of the royal household has been implicated in the rumours at some point. And that surely isn't fair, is it? Just guilt by collective association? Especially if you believe, as I do, as I've always said, that the claims, in my opinion, are completely and utterly baseless. That speculation reached fever pitch again this week because of this Weasley lickspittle Omid Scobie. He's the client journalist of the Sussexes. He's always the first to publish their Soviet-style official statements and defend their indefensible deeds. He's like that guy, Comical Ali. Do you remember him? Who fronted up for Saddam Hussein in the Iraq War and would literally say, "We've got him on the run," as the American howitzers were coming over his head. Well, Meghan Markle famously denied briefing Scobie for his last book, Finding Freedom. But then she was forced a few months after it came out to apologise in court and admit that actually she'd briefed one of her aides to go and tell Scobie all the laundry. So when it emerged that the latest book contained new details on those race accusations, well, let's just say I've made my own assumptions about where Scobie could have got that information from, because it wasn't King Charles. So that only leaves the other person on the end of that correspondence. That's Meghan Markle, or maybe Harry, her husband, or maybe one of their mutual friends that Scobie keeps boasting he has. Scobie says he knew the names of the accused royals, but couldn't use them for legal reasons. That's in the English version of his book. Then, as everybody now knows, the names suddenly appeared in a Dutch translation of the book. And by appeared, I mean they were sent to journalists who couldn't believe what they were reading. They went into bookstores where people could buy it. Well, last night I decided this was all ridiculous, and it was time to name the two royals implicated in those racism claims. They are, as I said last night, King Charles, Prince Charles as he was then, and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. I did that for several reasons. First, the speculation was once again raging out of control, as it has for 2.5 years. Second, it made no sense that Dutch journalists and Dutch people who bought copies before the publisher withdrew them would know these names, members of our royal family, when the British people were prevented from knowing them. Thirdly, once you know the names, it becomes blindingly obvious to anyone with even half a brain that these allegations are ridiculous. Whatever your view of the monarchy, I don't think any serious person really believes that anything they've seen or heard from King Charles or the Princess of Wales suggests they have even the tiniest racist bone in their bodies, or would judge anybody according to the shade of their skin. And once again, it's worth remembering what Prince Harry eventually said about these accusations when he was promoting his book. And before we play the clip, just to remind you, after launching this racist bombshell 2.5 years ago, it never got mentioned again. Not in the 6-part Netflix series, which mentioned everything else in their lives. Not in the 12-part podcasts for Spotify that Meghan Markle did, never mentioned. And it never got mentioned in Harry's over 400-page book. 150,000 words of stuff about his entire life, but not a mention of the supposed racism by members of his own family, which he had launched as a missile against that family on Oprah Winfrey.
And don't even get me started on the blatant disregard for the Queen and the institution she's dedicated her life to. The sheer audacity of it all. Let's be clear. This wasn't some heartfelt cry for help. This was a calculated PR stunt designed to damage the monarchy and line their own pockets. Now, I've always been a staunch advocate for mental health awareness, but something about Meghan's claims just didn't sit right with me. The timing, the lack of specifics, the refusal to name the alleged perpetrator, it all felt incredibly staged and manipulative. And when I dared to question the narrative, I was branded a heartless bully and silenced. Well, let me tell you, I won't be silenced when I see something that stinks. Chapter 3, Whining Prince or Family Traitor. Piers rips into Harry's book. Spare, they called it. More like, spare us the details, am I right? Honestly, who wants to hear a grown man whine about his frostbitten todger? This book was a litany of petty grievances and self-pitying drivel. Harry threw everyone under the bus. His father, his brother, even the Queen. It was a shameful betrayal of his family and his country. And for what? To sell a few books and keep the Netflix money rolling in?
So this is what he said to Tom Bradby at ITN at the start of this year when promoting the book where he didn't mention it.
In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
No, we didn't. Well, the British press said that.
Right.
Did Meghan ever mention that they were racist?
She said there were troubling comments about...
Yeah, there was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't, not having lived within that family.
God, he's such a dimwit, isn't he? He's just dim as ditch water. He literally thinks we're going to watch the clips back from Oprah and not think that she was saying that the royal family had been racist. How dumb does he think we are? So Harry performs this dramatic U-turn. Oh, we never meant to suggest they were racist. It was the terrible British press. They were the ones who said it was racism. We just meant unconscious bias. You know what that's become a euphemism for? We actually haven't got any evidence of someone being racist. We just think it's kind of unconscious, on the sly, right? It's kind of there, but we can't prove it. It's like we think they might be. Yeah, not good enough. Not when it comes to members of the royal family, whose reputations are on a global stage. So why should I stand back and let a proven liar like Omid Scobie, a man who claims in this book as a fact that I have regular phone chats with Queen Camilla? Regular. Do you know how many times I've spoken to Queen Camilla on the phone in my entire 58-year life? 0. Not once. It's not just not regular. It's never happened. We've never had a phone chat. So he's a liar. And he lied again about when apparently I called Meghan Markle Princess Pinocchio on that fateful last day of Good Morning Britain. Apparently Camilla immediately contacted me to thank me on behalf of the firm. No, she didn't. Another lie. Complete lie. So Scobie prepared to lie about me, about these little things, which don't really amount to a row of beans. Why should we believe anything else he has to say? All he's doing is dragging the whole royal family through the mud all over again, reigniting these racism charges, because he wants to sell books and make money. Well, Scobie gave another interview this morning, in which he again denied working with Meghan Markle, and he also denied ever using the names in any draft of his book.
I'm as frustrated as everyone else. I make it very clear in this book that I, in every way possible, want to adhere to the laws surrounding this subject. It's why I've been very careful in how it's described in the book, and it's why I've never spoken about it beyond what I've said in the public domain before. The reality is, though, is that this is information that is not privy just